Hey everybody, welcome back to Movies You Missed podcast. This is episode 169.
Nice.
And we are back this week with another re-release of an episode that we did many moons and months ago. During our first year here at Movies You Missed podcast, this is going to be a re-release of episode 14, which was titled Rated R for Rom-Com. Both of these movies are fantastic fun, and I'm super excited to revisit it. And I wanted to revisit this movie because I just revisited She's Out of My League again, and wanted to remind our audience about this movie. Because we have so many episodes, and this being 169,
Nice.
I wanted to bring back a rom-com because we haven't done so many rom-coms lately.
We need to do more. We need to be better.
We do. We will work on that very hard. There's so many rom-coms out there, I can't wait to watch more movies.
Me too.
And speaking of watching movies, we love to discuss the movies that we've seen in theaters or on streaming over the last week. And Vee, I'm curious if you saw anything this last week.
I did. I watched a streaming movie, and I really enjoyed it. It's called, it's on Amazon Prime. It stars John Cena and Idris Elba.
Oh, all right, yeah.
It's called Heads of State.
Yes, I almost watched this on Tuesday, actually last night. Almost watched it last night.
Oh, okay. That would have been cool. But
yeah,
it was actually really fun. It's a streaming movie, so it's not great cinema, but it was still very entertaining. Those two together have really great chemistry, actually. They were really funny. I liked Priyanka Chopra Jonas in it. And a couple of other actors. Charlton Copley makes an appearance for a little bit. So does Jack Quaid. It's fun.
Oh, cool.
It was a good plot. I think it's, in terms of streaming movies, especially streaming action movies this year, it's much better than G20, but not as good as Back in Action.
Oh, ooh, okay.
So
cool.
in terms of the range of quality, that's where I would place it. But yeah, very fun. I recommended it to my sister right after. I was like, no, it was worth watching. It's on Amazon Prime for free if you have it. Certainly give it a watch if you want to.
Well, maybe I will for next week.
Yeah, I think you should. I think you'd be entertained for sure.
All right.
And what did you watch this week?
I also watched a streaming movie on Amazon Prime. I thought this was going to be the one that you watched.
Oh, yeah,
I watched
me too.
I watched a new movie with Bryce Dallas Howard, Orlando Bloom, and Nick Mohammed, and Sean Bean.
Damn it, that's the other one I was going to watch.
Look at that. We both almost watched each other's movies, but now that's perfect. Now we've both on each other's end has seen the other, so now I can watch yours and you can watch mine.
Yes, so tell me all about Deep Cover, please.
Deep Cover is a blast. It's actually very entertaining. I think Orlando Bloom made me laugh more than I ever thought he would. I've never seen him in a comedy before, really, so that was really refreshing. And Bryce Dallas Howard's awesome, and it was a lot of fun. I think everybody would have a great time with it. It is R-rated, too. It's not super violent, but there's a little bit of violence. But overall, very cool. I think I'm curious to see what you'll think when you see it, Vee.
Okay, well, if we were more organized, we would have watched the same movie on Amazon Prime this week, but since we aren't,
I know.
Let's promise each other to watch the other one's movie for next week.
Absolutely. I will do that.
Okay, great. Me too.
Magnificent. Love watching new movies, especially when they're entertaining. Please do keep watching movies at home. Yes, that's cool. But do continue to see movies in the movie theaters every week, or as many times as you possibly can.
Especially F1.
Yes, which I still need to see.
Yes.
All right, everybody. So sit back, relax, enjoy this re-release of episode 14, R-rated for Rom-Com. Cheers, everybody.
Enjoy.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Movies You Missed podcast. This is episode 14. How's everybody today? Vee, especially you. How are you today?
Spectacular. I am still so pumped to record with you every week.
Oh, hell yeah. Me too. I'm very excited about this one today, too, because we both went lighter fare, albeit R-rated lighter fare, but still very entertaining films, and very much looking forward to discussing both of these today.
Yes, and I know we've discussed this before recording today, just how important it is for us to have variety in our movie lists and in our episodes. And so we hope that with that variety, we're covering a lot of people's interests. And some people like horror thrillers, with The Cell that I picked last week, and others will enjoy these rom-coms. And I think that is something that's really important to us. And I really enjoy that we do spend time discussing that and our strategy around our episodes.
Agreed, indeed. I'm very excited about these next handful of episodes because they're going to be bouncing back and forth between needing to take a shower afterwards or just feeling really good afterwards.
Yes, I think even more so than the first set of episodes we've done. There is going to be a lot more genre switching over the next few episodes. And I think that's, like I said, I think that's important. And it also keeps things fresh and fun for us too, which makes it so we can do the best for this podcast.
Yeah. So I think we're ready to get into it. Neither of us have unfortunately been to the movies this week. I think we can jump into your movie unless you have anything else you'd like to discuss before we get into it.
No, I think we're good. And yes, I unfortunately haven't gotten a chance to see a movie this week. It happens when you have 11 and 13-year-old nieces visiting you. You can't exactly go see some of the new movies that are out right now. So hopefully next week we'll get some new box office movies under our belt so we can talk about them for our audience.
Hell yeah.
And so instead, we'll be nice and efficient, I think, dive right in, right?
I think so, yeah. Head first, please.
All right, and it's my turn?
I believe you'd kick us off on episode 14.
Okay, and actually, that means we're going to go chronological as well with these movies today.
Fantastic. Oh, yes, we are. Yes.
Yeah. So this week, we decided to go rom-com, but with a little bit of a twist. These are, as you mentioned, both R-rated rom-coms. But despite that, both of these movies still are very sweet, have a lot of heart. They just have a lot more cuss words than regular rom-coms, I think.
Yes, they get a little on the raunchier side as well.
Yes, and that absolutely includes my movie because it's full of porn stars, actually.
Yes, it is. It is indeed. And, that's totally fine.
Hey, they're people too. They deserve love.
Absolutely do indeed.
I am talking about the 2004 rom-com called The Girl Next Door.
Hey.
This stars Emile Hirsch and Alicia Cuthbert, and it's just a really sweet film. So this high school senior named Matthew, played by Emile Hirsch, is a very low-key guy. He is not one of the popular kids. He's the student body class president. He's trying to get into Georgetown. He's very straight-laced. He really hasn't done anything crazy in his high school days. He has two friends who are very sweet, but they're just outsiders. They're, like I said, not part of the popular crowd. This incredibly attractive young woman moves in next door, and it turns out she's house-sitting for her aunt. He immediately is attracted to her, and they meet under very funny circumstances, actually. And from there, he starts pursuing her and they start a relationship. But things come to a screeching halt when he finds out she's actually a porn star and has been trying to get out of the business, which is why she left LA and has come to her aunt's house. I know I've said this before, but I love this saying. Then chaos ensues because her director/manager finds out where she is and comes to try to, entice her back into the business. There's also a theft involved, actually several thefts that are involved in this movie. And it really, at the end of the day, this guy, Matthew, gets pushed way, way out of his comfort zone in trying to date this young woman. And I just think that it's actually a pretty uniquely written rom-com. I haven't seen this before. This storyline, I thought it was pretty well done, how they handled it. And it's just a very fun, sweet movie that, like I said, has a lot of heart. And there's some very good actors in it, actually, which I'll get into. But like I said, it's a unique plot. It's the classic early 2000s. Oh my God, the way these kids talk, the way they're dressed.
Oh yeah.
Classic early 2000s, including there's some parts of it that haven't aged well. I'll be totally transparent with our audience and say, there is a gay slur used a couple times in this film because it was the early 2000s. And again, like I said, it hasn't aged well. So I do want to give people a heads up. But beyond that, I think it was such an authentic portrayal of outsiders in high school, right? These kids cut class every day. We should do that. And the guys are like, no, I gotta go to class.
Oh yeah.
That
was kind of my buddies and I. We did do a senior ditch day, but there were definitely some folks that we would be like, man, they're never in class. Like, how are they gonna continue like in life if they don't finish these courses? I don't know. It was strange. Like that, I will give you that. There was a little bit of authenticity there. Mm-hmm. Some of it, though, really did not feel authentic to me. But there's a lot of dialogue between Matthew and his friends that I absolutely had with my friends. So
real. Very, very much teenage boys, especially his so he has one friend who's kind of addicted to porn, which is how Matthew ends up finding out that his new girlfriend is a porn star because his buddy brings the video and he's like, oh my God. But that kid is all talk, right? He's like, oh yeah, you should totally do her. And of course, he meets a beautiful woman and can't say anything. He's just standing there. And it's just the classic teenage boy, right? He's just all talk.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I like that actor, and I think it's funny that for some strange reason I thought that was Miles Teller.
Which I don't fault you for. I mean, as young kids, like when I was watching the movie, I was like, oh yeah, I could kind of see how you can mistake him for Miles Teller when they were both younger.
Yeah, there was. It's strange too because I've seen this actor and I didn't write his real name down. Unfortunately, I actually wrote Miles.
Oh, sorry. You wrote Miles Teller?
I wrote Miles Teller down in my notebook.
Nice.
And I was like, Miles Teller is making me laugh more than anybody else. And I was just sitting there like, yeah, because then he's in Just Friends with Ryan Reynolds and Amy Smart and later on in life, and I really liked him in that movie too. And he, not that he plays the same character, but he plays a similar like Gusto type of a character, like
his
very similar
character, typecast kind of character.
Yeah,
he's most recently in Barry as Chris in that show. If anybody watches Barry, so yeah, he's kind of a small time actor. His name is Christopher Rodriguez Marquette. Is his name?
Thank you.
But yeah, so not Miles Teller, but when they were younger, they both kind of looked similar. So I get it. But yeah, and
threw me off when I texted you. I was like, Miles Teller made me laugh the most, and you're like, who was he in the movie? And I'm like, his best friend. And you're like, Miles Teller is not in Girl Next Door.
No,
I'm like,
he's not.
Bullshit, he's not. And then I looked up, I'm going through the cast list. I'm like, where the fuck is Miles Teller? It's definitely not him. Sorry,
folks,
Miles Teller.
It happens to the best of us.
But like you said, there was similarities to them as when they were younger actors.
Yeah, and he also is the head of the video department of the high school. And another piece that I think is really authentic is how he treats his crew, and he calls them minions.
Yes, that was great.
And I was like, yep, that is totally an environment that would happen in Hollywood too. So.
Oh, yeah.
And then also, just because we're on the topic, I love that later on in the movie, so this kid wears a ball cap a lot. And later on in the movie, he's wearing a Vivid Productions hat. Which is actually a real porn studio. I just thought that was great.
And if anybody ever drove down the 101 between like 95 and 2009, Vivid Entertainment was right off the 101 freeway across from Universal Studios. There was a massive building right there on the hills, Vivid Entertainment. And I dropped my resume off there twice.
Nice.
To edit at Vivid Entertainment.
Yeah, you want to clarify what job you wanted.
Yes, I did. I wanted to be still behind the scenes. There was nothing else engraved in my brain at that time. You know, I didn't want to disappoint my parents too much.
Right, exactly.
I actually did. My first job that I almost took was actually editing for an adult production company called Digital Playground, and I got the application on Craigslist, and they emailed me within an hour after I sent in my resume, which I had just left art school, so I was fresh out of learning Final Cut and Avid, and applied for this job that says, editor needed, $1,500 a week, benefits, in the Valley, Van Nuys, California. And I was still fresh at 18. I didn't really know a whole lot about where the production went down. And so they emailed me like, come on down to our studio and we'll give you a little bit of a trial run. So I went down there, and sure enough, it was a janky-ass little production facility in Van Nuys, California. They gave me a DVD with a instruction booklet, essentially, on how to make this X-rated movie an R-rated movie. And I spent a few very late nights trying to do that, and I did not succeed. And I also I didn't want to disappoint my parents. So I also reached out to a friend of my father's at the time and was like, hey man, so do you think if I took this job for like a year that would like tarnish my potentiality in the industry, the entertainment industry? And he goes, I wouldn't take it. You may not ever get out of it, and da-da-da-da-da.
Right.
I was like, all right, fine, I won't take it. And I didn't, and lo and behold, 6 months later, I was an assistant editor at the CW. So that's fine, but it was just a little interesting little history on me.
That is interesting. No, thank you for sharing that story, actually. And yeah, I mean, it's the porn industry in Southern California is looked at. It's a professional industry. It's people who are editing and things, like they're not pervs. They're just literally editors. Yeah,
just trying to make that money. And the money was good. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the money's really good.
It was like, it was great.
And so, similar to a buddy of mine used to work at DirecTV, and I did a tour once, and they have a huge facility in Southern California. And one of the rooms is just a huge bank of TVs. and with basically every channel that DirecTV can offer. And these guys have to sit in there and they work in shifts and they are monitoring the channels to make sure it's up and running. They don't have any dead air or blackouts. They're basically quality control. And it's a whole bank of TVs. And then in one row is all the porn channels because that also has to be monitored too. And they're just guys sitting there doing their jobs. And it's like, no, this is just part of an industry and that's what it is. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of people in the porn industry are just professionals.
Oh, yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
I've met some very wonderful people that are still in the industry and some that have actually retired. But yeah, you know, they're people, like you said.
They're people, too. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You
Let's
just
not
have
be
seen
Puritans.
a lot more of them.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. So the other thing about this movie that I immediately texted you about when I was watching it, I was like, holy shit, that's right. There's a David Bowie song in this film.
Yes.
So
it opens up with it, doesn't it?
It does open up with it. One of the greatest collaborations in musical history, which is Freddie Mercury and David Bowie singing Under Pressure, which is an incredible song, though I don't think utilizes either of their talents enough. Because it is a more subtle song, but that's just my personal opinion. Still a great song, and like I said, still has David Bowie in it, so it means I'm back on track on the Bowie train.
Yes.
I will continue to keep an eye out and let our listeners know whenever there's Bowie music in our picks.
That's a good idea, yeah. A lot of people like that Bowie, and we very clearly do as well.
Exactly, yes. I like the fact that it wasn't completely predictable movie. There are a couple of twists that the first time I watched it, I actually didn't see coming. And there's several subplots that I thought were very well done and helped with the creative aspect of this film. So yeah, I really enjoy it. I saw it when it came out in 2004 and I've seen it multiple times since then. It's an enjoyable film. It is rated R, but really, really fun rom-com for people who, I think just adults who don't take rom-coms too seriously in terms of like the true love trope.
Right, yeah. Yes, definitely.
This is a more realistic rom-com. I really enjoyed it. But I am really interested to hear your take on it before I get to who is in this film.
Oh, sure.
Because when I did put this movie on the list, your response to me is, I've seen it once and I hate it.
Yeah, I didn't like it when I first saw it. Honestly, I do not remember when that was. It could have been when it first came out, could have been several years after that. But I remember, I didn't buy it when I first watched it. And I think I just didn't like the inauthenticity of it based off of what I had experienced in life. And not that people haven't had this happen to them. It just hadn't happened to me or anybody that I knew. So I was like, okay, well, this is just some movie that is available now that we can watch that might be funny, might not be funny. I remember laughing a few times when I first watched it, but overall, I didn't go back to it. I never revisited it. I wasn't like, oh, that was enough to bring me back. So I appreciated that you threw it on this list because I had one that really complimented it as well. And again, it's weird to like watch this movie at 36 and, you know, because I feel like I am the everyman in my relationship. Like, you know, why would my wife want to be with me when she could be with somebody else? You know, it's like,
no.
And that's the thing that, you know, like men do compare themselves, and, you know, sometimes people don't know that about men, but we definitely do. I don't know about every single man on the planet, but I have gotten better at that over the last like 10 years of my life, but it's still one of those, you know, insecurities that we have. And I also, watching it this time, I still have a major problem with how they meet. Not that he's watching her through the window, because let's be honest, if you see something like that, you're not going to look away. It happened to me when I lived in New York. I was in my backyard and blinds were open of an apartment across the way, and there was somebody changing. She didn't know I was watching, and I wasn't trying to, I didn't pull out binoculars or anything like that, but I was just like, oh gosh, the window's open. I don't know if she knows that I'm standing out here smoking a cigarette. I politely turned around, but then I turned back around to see if she was still there, because what I saw I thought was very lovely.
Okay.
And that's...
But hold on, because I have a major problem with your story.
Oh, okay.
I'm really actually kind of upset. You smoked?
Oh, well.
What the fuck, dude?
I was like, what? That I looked at her? The window was open. Yeah, I smoked cigarettes for a very unfortunate length of time in my early 20s. Yeah, it is my biggest and I think
in you.
only regret actually in my life that that I did that. Anyway, moving on.
Okay, moving on. Sorry. But yes, there is this everyman trope in both of our movies. It is very classic in Hollywood, which, King of Queens or tons of TV shows about it too.
Gosh,
tons of movies, right? It's the everyman who gets this insanely hot woman. And I would love it if Hollywood started making some movies where it is the every woman who gets the insanely hot guy. Let's turn that on its head. That would be actually original. Come on, people.
That would be good.
But yes,
like
that
I was
is
saying,
a suspension of belief with both of our films to a
little bit,
to a point.
But
where
it does happen.
Yeah.
It has happened in life. But again, like the whole, he sees her changing, he drops down, and then all of a sudden she's running over next door. And again, the thing that I also had a problem with is it's like fucking 11 o'clock at night when this is happening. And then she comes over and she goes, well, we don't know what she tells his parents except for his dad's like, oh, she's visiting, taking care of her aunt's house. Why don't you show her around? Okay, at 11 o'clock at night? Sure, let's show her around. He gets in the car with her. They're driving around. And in all seriousness, this I feel like would happen. Absolutely. Like a woman would be like, you saw me, now it's your turn.
Hell yeah.
So I thought that was pretty good. I thought that was funny. And apparently Emile Hirsch was a minor during the production of this movie. So when we see that naked guy, that was his stunt double, which I thought was kind of entertaining.
His ass double.
In my movie, there's an ass double as well.
There is?
There is, yes. And we'll get into it. But I think that still is my major problem with the movie. And watching it again this time, I was like, that's why I didn't like this movie off the bat, because it's so late at night. It's a school night. This guy's parents are telling him to go show this girl around town when it's almost midnight. A lot of it was unbelievable to me. It was very. I know it is. It really is. But it's still like one of those moments where I'm like, no, that wouldn't happen.
No. Because here's the thing. Oh my god, there are much more unbelievable parts of this movie than just that little scene.
Well, but that's how it starts for them.
Yeah,
though,
yeah.
It's like that's how they end up like building a rapport against each other.
But
or
here's
with
the
each
thing:
other.
you don't know actually what time it is. It's during the school year, so it gets darker earlier. So first of all, hold on.
All right.
And I can tell you, as an outsider, someone who was not in social circles in high school, who was a straight A student, and pretty much kind of a boring person. Like I played sports, I went to school, and that was it. Right?
Yeah.
I never got in trouble academically or socially or anything. Like I did not have any school trouble at all when I was a teenager. And I can absolutely tell you, if I told my parents on a school night that I was going out with someone, they'd be like, okay, have fun. I'll see you later. Like they wouldn't care because they know I'm not going to get into trouble.
I guess that's true.
And this kid was a total nerd, right? And
he's like class president or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So like, there is absolutely a lot of trust that his parents would have extended to him. And yeah, if he's going to go out on a school night with a new neighbor, they'd be like, oh yeah, be the nice guy and show her around. Like that is absolutely realistic.
Okay, fine. It just felt weird to me. And you're right about the time because spring forward, fall back. Yeah, all right, fine. Okay, I nitpicked a little bit with
random.
the sun being down, but still, like, yeah, and the whole driving around thing, you saw me, now let me see you, and I like how she's like, did you like what you saw? And he's like, what do you mean? And
I didn't see anything.
Yeah, we didn't see much, and that was the interesting thing about this movie. She is a porn star, but I don't know, it likely was in the contract for Alicia Cuthbert, but I don't think she's ever done nudity.
No,
so
she was not naked in this film.
No, we see her from the side a little bit.
Than
well,
her.
not really, because it's his body double.
Oh yeah, good point.
So
that just reminds me of the scene in Notting Hill with Julia Roberts and Hugh Grant. They're talking about nudity in movies, actually, because she's an actress, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I could use a butt double, and I can use a double." And he's like, "Wow, what an interesting job. What do you put on your passport? Mel Gibson stump bottom?" And she's like, "Well, Mel does his own ass work."
I've never seen Notting Hill.
Oh, it holds up. I'll pick it at some point. It's very cute.
All right.
It's a very cute rom-com.
I know that Vera Farmiga used a body double in Up in the Air when after her and George Clooney first hook up. Mm-hmm. We see her from the back, but she was pregnant and she wanted a body double, and I respect body double looked like her.
Yeah, I respect any actor's decision to show as much or as little as they want, especially because of the fact that, let's be honest, women are shown naked or mostly nude in movies so much more than men.
Oh, absolutely.
There is a slight misogyny
stigma
aspect
no, for sure.
to filmmaking and how much women are expected to be naked versus men. So I think actresses having autonomy over their bodies is super important.
Oh, I agree. And I like the way that I think I like the fact that we didn't actually see her fully naked because, even though everybody claims that they've seen her work in that movie, especially his friends, we still are, there's a mystery there. But beyond that, I really liked Christopher Rodriguez Marquette, and I really liked Paul Dano in this movie too. And I actually did not like Paul Dano when I first saw him, and I first saw Paul Dano in Little Miss Sunshine. And I still think Little Miss Sunshine is one of the worst movies that has come out in the last 20 years. But Paul Dano was good in that movie, as much as I didn't like the movie. But I liked him in this because he reminded me of another good friend of mine. So I feel like I was a little bit of a trifecta of all three of them. And that was one thing that I could relate to. And another thing that irritates me about Girl Next Door, thing that irritates me about She's All That, thing that irritates me about most high school films is that their proms are always on the campus of the high school. And that is not accurate unless you are in like a really, really small town. No prom that I've ever been to was on the campus of my high school. They were always somewhere else.
You went to a very big high school.
I guess I did. Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
I can promise you that happens all the fucking time. That
really?
happened
That's
to the
terrible.
Director. His prom was in the cafeteria, which is why he filmed this prom in the cafeteria. I can tell you, I've been to proms that it was at our high school gym.
No way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
No, see, now, like, winter formal maybe, or like, prep rallies and shit, like all of that, whatever. Like winter formal, a few dances in the cafeteria, but my high school proms were always at a museum or...
Dude, where the fuck did you go to high school?
my senior prom was on the Sony lot. My senior prom was on the Sony lot. I guess I did. I don't know. And I don't mean to come off as like, oh yeah, I'm all hoity-toity, but I even wrote down, I hate when proms are on school campuses.
No,
in
it's
movies,
realistic, I promise you.
That does not feel authentic to me at all.
It absolutely happens. Listeners, back me up on this. Come at John on social media and tell them where you had your prom on the high school campus.
I truly am. And I'm not trying to be like I had a better prom, but it probably was a lot of fun.
Didn't realize that it was realistic.
Yeah, did not experience that at all. And that's the one thing that I do when I watch high school movies is like, okay, now, like when we were talking about Love, Simon, I'm just like, there's no way these kids are getting up this fucking early to pick up their friends and get iced coffee.
Yeah.
There's no way that proms are on school campuses. So, there's definitely some stigma with me in high school movies. But one thing that I want to talk about was seeing Olivia Wilde in this movie.
Yes.
Because Olivia Wilde was in the very first movie that I ever worked on.
Oh, really?
And the funny thing about the very first movie that I worked on, it was shot in the exact same location as The Girl Next Door was shot.
What?
It was shot at College of the Canyons in Santa Clarita, California, and I went to school there for half a semester. Yeah.
Very
and we
cool.
shot the first movie I ever worked on, which is called Bickford Schmeckler's Cool Ideas. It stars Patrick Fugit, John Cho, Olivia Wilde, Matthew Lillard, Cheryl Hines, and it was a blast. I worked on it for 2 weeks. I was an intern. I didn't get paid. I cut class to work on this movie. I didn't go to my math class. I didn't go to my English class. I went to my film production class because I had to tell them that I was working on a movie on campus. And I remember when The Girl Next Door was being shot around town because I would always drive by College of the Canyons, and there were all the trailers. There was all the equipment, everything. And Santa Clarita is very prominent for being a production hub.
Yes, it is.
There's a studio up there, but at the same time, like the whole sequence, and I think it's actually one of my favorite sequences, is when he decides to ditch school with all the seniors, and they're all like running away from security, and then security starts chasing him, and the security officer meets a fucked up demise, and then we come back, and it was all in Matthew's head, and I thought that was fucking hysterical.
Yeah.
And I've driven on that road many, many, many times.
I did like with his anxiety, he envisions the worst case scenario and takes the viewer with him. He does it a couple times in the movie. It's very good.
Yeah, it is. And again, watching it again years later, 36, I'm not as young as I was when I first saw it. There's definitely more believability for me, and a lot of the dialogue made me laugh. I didn't like crack up, but I definitely had a few chuckle moments, and overall, I would give the movie like a solid C+, maybe like low B-.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. So
totally
that's kind of my take on it. But again, I watching it, I was like, oh, Olivia Wilde. Oh, that's hilarious. Because the first few scenes that I shot with Olivia Wilde were where we meet her in The Girl Next Door. And I was just like, my gosh, what was that like for her?
Yeah.
And I actually, real quick, want to say, when I first met Olivia Wilde, it was 5:30 in the morning, and I was at catering. And I don't drink coffee anymore, but this was one of those times where I was actually going to just give coffee a shot because I had been up since 4:30. My dad took me to breakfast, and then he dropped me off to work on this movie for my first day. And I was pouring a little bit of coffee, and Olivia Wilde walked up, and I had no idea who she was at the time. And she just comes up, she goes, hi, morning. And I'm like, oh, hi, what's your name? She goes, I'm Olivia. I'm like, hi, I'm John. I'm starting on this movie today. I'm an intern. I think I'll be here for the next couple of weeks. She shook my hand, and she says, welcome to the show. I just got off of finishing off the OC, and I can't wait to be in this movie because I really like the script, and I hope you have a good time. And every few days after that, she would say good morning to me, and she was just an absolute sweetheart. So
Aww.
I really liked having my first few days on a movie with Olivia Wilde and her just being a real badass. And I can't wait to see her new directorial, which looks fucking
Looks
awesome.
really good. Don't worry, darling. That
Don't
looks
worry, yeah.
really good. Yeah.
Harry Styles and Florence Pugh. I'm in. I'm
yeah.
in.
No, that looks. I'm very interested to see what that script is about.
Hell yeah. Oh, and she did Booksmart, which I
She
thought
did.
was also fantastic. Booksmart was fucking hilarious.
Yes, one of my older sister's favorite movies. Actually, that's a really funny
awesome.
movie. Yeah,
I watched it on a plane on my honeymoon, actually, going to Disney World, and I was sitting next to two old people, and I was laughing so loud. I didn't care. I had a few bourbons, but I thought Booksmart was hysterical, and I've watched it 2 or 3 times since. It holds up, and it's a great film.
It's on Hulu right now, I think.
Oh, wonderful. I'll watch it again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, very, very funny. And as we both mentioned, Emile Hirsch is in this movie.
Great actor.
Even though I don't like the storyline, I do think Into the Wild is a beautiful and pretty incredible movie. I thought Sean Penn did a great job as a director.
I never saw that one.
Oh, the soundtrack is beautiful. It's written all by Eddie Vedder.
Oh, sweet.
And yeah, it's a very beautifully crafted movie. I personally do not like the glorification of Christopher McCandless's story. As an avid backpacker and outdoors person, the fact that a lot of people look up to him, and he went out in the wild in Alaska thinking he'd be fine and survive with no tools, no information, no knowledge, and basically went and killed himself because of it through hubris. And
Right.
So I am a big fan of the book. I thought John Krakauer wrote it very beautifully. The movie is very beautiful as well, but just glorifying this story, a lot of people would travel out to this bus that he went and lived in Alaska until they finally actually towed it out of there, I think with a helicopter. They craned it out of there because all these people would make treks out there because they're like, oh my God, he left our capitalist society and lived out on the land. It's like, no, a ton of people actually do that and do it well because they've done the hard work to survive in the wilderness. This person is not one of those people. So I just had a bit of a problem with that personally as an outdoors person, but I do think it is a very good movie. Anyway, side note, but Emile Hirsch, you will recognize him from that movie as the lead, as well as the the movie Speed Racer. I had to write down the names of Speed Racer because it's so silly. And then Alicia Cuthbert, as we mentioned, is the second lead in this movie. I recognize her from 24. She plays Kiefer Sutherland's daughter in the show 24, which was actually filming at the same time. She did concurrent shoots, which must have been so goddamn exhausting for her.
I'll bet. I never saw 24. Not even one episode.
The first couple seasons were amazing, especially because of how original it was, and just the audacity to do a show like that was really impressive.
Yeah. I do remember hearing a lot about it, and I thought it was a great idea. I just never got around to it. I think I was watching Alias at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think those were very early 2000s, right around the year 2000 actually. So yeah, and a couple other people in this movie. We get dirtbag Timothy Olyphant in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Oh my gosh, he's so funny in this movie, and
he actually is really good in this one. He's very reminiscent of his Santa Clarita Diet character without the raunchiness in Santa Clarita Diet.
Yeah. I mean, he is so skeevy in this movie. He plays her director / manager in the porn industry, and just the way he's dressed and the things he says are just so bad. But he is, I think, a good comic relief in this movie, and he has a couple of quotes that I love, including I think he's the first person I ever heard say, "Oh, that's the tits," as a compliment. I think he's the first person I ever heard say that, and I do use that from time to time still. So, as you mentioned, Paul Dano's in this movie, most recently in The Batman as the Riddler, which you still need to watch.
Yes, I do still need to watch it.
He's also in There Will Be Blood as the twins.
I love Paul Dano in There Will Be Blood, especially the scene where he's preaching, and oh man, it gives me chills all the time. I know you don't like There Will Be Blood, but I think it's a pretty damn great movie.
Yeah, Paul Thomas Anderson's hit and miss for me, to be honest.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, not a big fan of There Will Be Blood, even though fantastic filmmakers and actors in that movie, and I understand why people are fans of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a fun popcorn movie that I think is really enjoyable, especially as adults, that, you know, changes up the rom-com genre a little bit because it is rated R, because it is a little twisted because it involves the porn industry and things like that. So I think it's very enjoyable, and it didn't do great, to be honest. It had a budget of $21 million and it only made $30 million worldwide, and that was split pretty evenly between the US and the rest of the world.
Interesting.
Yeah, but it is for free on Hulu or Netflix right now, and so, you know, I'm glad at a second viewing you did enjoy it a bit more. But it's just a fun movie, and again, like we've discussed, both our movies this week do have a lot of heart, and they're in a lot of ways very sweet movies, so they're enjoyable to watch. Definitely.
There were, like I said, I laughed a good amount during this second viewing of mine, and bought a little bit more of it, a little bit more believability for me. One thing that I thought was very entertaining is when they go to Vegas and both his friends are out there trying to act as if they're also producers. And they meet a porn star, and then they meet the porn star's boyfriend. And he's like, oh, man, you got to use her. You got to use my girl. And then Lexington Steele walks in.
This is my boyfriend. Mule.
Yeah, Mule. And the guy's like this huge guy that, you know,
totally yoked out.
Kind of, porn dude. And then when they find out that they're not actual porn stars, they chase them out. And I love when Eli jumps over the rail onto the cake.
Yeah.
And then Klitz jumps off the railing. And then Mule like just does this like suplex jump off and like lands on Klitz. And they're just like chasing him around the casino. There was definitely some good moments in the movie. The heartwarming aspect of it was good. And I liked that Timothy Olyphant he really didn't let up at all. Like there's the one moment where Timothy Olyphant's character, I started to believe that he wasn't going to really give Matthew any more shit, because I thought, you know, he really was kind of buying into the fact that he was into Danielle a lot, and he was like, all right, you know what, Danielle wants to leave the industry, I gotta let her live her life in the real world, and, you know, but then he completely 180s again and goes back into his
stays as a dirtbag.
Yeah, very dirtbaggy. You know, again, some authenticity to it. Definitely had a heartwarming moment or two.
Yeah, this is a solid movie. I definitely would recommend it to people. I think it's very sweet and very fun. Definitely worth your time. And like I said, it's available on Hulu and Netflix for free. Definitely recommend the film. And I just like the fact that our theme this week is rated R rom-coms. I think that's a nice little subgenre of rom-coms, and I think it'll introduce people to a couple new movies.
Oh, I definitely think so. I'm excited to get into mine. I really enjoyed talking about yours too.
Thank you. I appreciate you giving it a second chance.
Of course. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, so I think that's a good time as any to get into your film.
Yeah, we can get into mine. I chose the 2010 raunchy rom-com, She's Out of My League. This film stars Jay Baruchel, T.J. Miller, Alice Eve, Kristen Ritter, who I love to death, Nate Torrance, Mike Vogel, Deborah Joy Krupp. It's just got a whole bunch of different people in this movie that really accentuate the authenticity and the comedy for me in this film. Now, this film is similar to The Girl Next Door. It's about a young man that is uncoordinated, unattractive, and he somehow manages to catch the attraction of a bombshell blonde.
I think he's very cute, by the way.
Jay Baruchel?
Yeah, he's adorable.
Oh yeah, you know, he's not a terrible looking guy. I've usually enjoyed his work. I like him in this. I like him in the hockey film with Sean William Scott Goon. I like him in Knocked Up. I like him as the voice of the lead character in How to Train Your Dragon. So he's definitely been around. If nobody knows him by name, if you saw his face, guaranteed you'd know who he was. He is a young guy that works as a TSA agent in the Pittsburgh airport and manages to acquire this young lady's phone that she leaves behind in security. Alice Eve plays this character. Her name is Molly in the movie. immediately the movie starts out with laughs. We find out that
Yeah.
Kirk is unfortunately a bit lovesick for his ex-girlfriend, and he's really wanting to get back with her. Her name is Marnie, and she really just doesn't want anything to do with him. Although she's still in his life because in a weird circumstance, Kirk's parents have allowed her to live with them, which is in a strange way one of those things where the parents really love the ex-girlfriend and they're so upset that you've broken up with them. This has happened to me in the past.
I was going to say that is definitely realistic, where an ex is still part of your family in one way or another.
Oh, yeah.
That's totally happened. Yeah, that is a realistic part of the movie for sure.
Yeah, and I thought that was great when I first saw this movie. I was like, oh my gosh, wow! I didn't think that happened to anybody else. So yeah, that was some good authenticity. The way that we're introduced to every other character is done very well. It's a very sharply written film. Like every few minutes there is a laugh, and it's not one of those over the top laughs. It is a genuine, authentic laugh because of what you're seeing on screen is how these people would respond or how these people would act. There's moments with Jay Baruchel's character Kirk that you can see his thought process, and you know what he's thinking because of his expressions on his face and his body language. So beyond the body language and the dialogue that Jay Baruchel's character Kirk has, everybody else is almost readable as well. You got Nate Torrance, who a lot of people may recognize from earlier commercials. The guy was in Get Smart. The guy has been around for quite some time as well. He's a very good character actor. We have T.J. Miller, who plays Stainer, and T.J. Miller most recently for a while on Silicon Valley. He was in Deadpool and Deadpool 2.
Oh my God.
He was in, I think, one of the Transformers films.
An avocado fucked an angry avocado. I forgot he was in Deadpool. God, he's funny in that movie.
Yeah, he's the bartender in
yes.
the Bounty Hunter bar.
You are haunting. He's talking about his face. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, that scene's so funny. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
No problem. And he's great in this movie as Stainer. I mean,
yes.
the deadpan comedy that he really just exudes just makes me laugh so much. So other than those two, we have Kristen Ritter, who plays Patty. She plays Molly's best friend and business partner. And we meet Patty on the airplane after Molly thinks that she's lost her phone. And the way that Kristen Ritter's character Patty is on the phone with Kurt after he answers it is immediately, you know this woman. Like, you know a woman exactly like her.
Yeah.
Just a complete and utter spitfire bitch, but she means well. Like, she's got a heart of gold. But at the same time, she's very forward and very, no bullshit.
Mouth of a sailor. And
oh my gosh, yeah.
She's actually she's continued to grow her career. I loved her as Jane in Breaking Bad, even though that character was awful.
Oh, so fucking
good.
Twisted.
Yeah, but so good. And then I loved her in Jessica Jones as Jessica Jones. I thought she was great in that. Yeah, she's been great in a lot of stuff I've seen, and she very much reminds me of Judy Greer, right? The mouthy best friend.
Yeah.
In movies.
The darker version.
She's the black-haired version of Judy Greer.
Yeah,
exactly.
Definitely. Absolutely.
She cusses more.
Yes, she does. Oh my gosh. So entertaining. And then we got Mike Vogel. The cool thing about Mike Vogel and T.J. Miller is they actually worked together for the first time on a movie called Cloverfield. And if anybody has seen Cloverfield, that is a bitchin' ass flick. That is a lot of fun. That's one of the not first found footage type movies, but it's shot very handheld, very frenetic. A reptilian lizard terrorizes New York City. Great movie. T.J. Miller's in that. He plays the comic relief somewhat in that movie, even though there's not a whole lot of comedy in Cloverfield. And Mike Vogel plays the brother of the lead in Cloverfield and unfortunately meets a demise on the Brooklyn Bridge.
Is he the hot friend?
Yes, he plays Jack, Mike Vogel.
Damn. Yeah. He was really hot in this movie.
Yeah, he's a good-looking dude. He is.
Yeah.
He's very funny in this movie too. Like I said, everybody is funny. Before we started rolling on this today, this movie feels to me that the director literally grabbed a camera and went to the Pittsburgh airport and found all of these guys and was like, "Can I just follow you around for a week? And can I throw a really gorgeous blonde in it and just kind of make her fall for one of you?" And it really works out. Nate Torrance's character Devin, he is also one of Kirk's best friend colleagues that works at TSA at the airport. And when Kirk is bringing back Molly's phone, he brings Devin along, and I really love that scene because Devin is getting all Disney on him, and he's like, "This is just like when Aladdin goes to meet Princess Jasmine," and then when they finally meet, Devin's face drops, and he just goes, "Princess Jasmine." Like he like whispers that she's Princess Jasmine.
He's the Disney nerd. He's adorable.
Yeah, so funny. And the conversation that they have later in the movie is like, what ugly person, like what unattractive person has ended up with an attractive guy or an attractive woman?
I absolutely wrote that down. That was such a good scene in the movie. The writing was so spot on when they're talking about the average guys with hot girls and how often that actually happens in real life. And I was like, okay, first of all, this is kind of meta, which I appreciate.
Oh yeah.
And oh my gosh, that discussion was so cute and so real. And then he's like,
so good.
Well, what about the Beast and Belle? It was so cute.
I love that. So it's like, well, yeah, Beast. He was hairy, ugly, but he had a beautiful voice. And it's like, that was good. And then because the one thing about Stainer is he's in a Hall & Oates tribute band, and when early on in the movie when they're talking about the point scale, it's like, oh, Kirk's a solid, like a hard 5, and then Jack looks at Stainer and he goes, well, what are you then? He goes, I'm a 6. And he goes, how are you a 6? You drive a shitty car. He goes, artist exemption. I'm supposed to have a shitty car.
Yes, I love it.
Jack's like, okay, so if you're a 6, what am I? And Stainer's like, you're an 8. And he goes, all right, fine, I'm an 8. And he's just like, okay, I'll live with it.
Yep.
And it's just, again, the conversations are just so true to life. And I really like these two writers. We have John Morris and Sean Anders. They both came onto the scene with a movie called Sex Drive. And if anybody remembers that one, that is about a guy that meets a girl online and essentially drives to meet her to lose his virginity to her. And that's how we are introduced to Clark Duke as an actor, who I have had the pleasure of working with. And he's a very cool dude. I've worked with him twice. I worked with him on a Funny or Die sketch, and then I worked on a pilot that he wrote and directed. And he was just a really all-around good dude. So these two came out with Sex Drive. They also wrote Mr. Popper's Penguins. They also wrote Hot Tub Time. Yeah, they also wrote Hot Tub Time Machine, which was fucking hysterical.
Wow, I'm impressed.
Well, you're going to like this one, but I hate this movie because the lead actor makes me cringe as fuck. They wrote We're the Millers, and I hate Jason Sudeikis. I hate.
What?
I will not watch anything with Jason Sudeikis after We're the Millers. Sorry, V.
Oh my God. I mean, this might be the end of the podcast. First of all, We're the Millers is one of my all-time favorite comedies. What the
it's a shame.
fuck?
I hate that movie.
And you are offending most of America right now by saying you hate Jason Sudeikis with Ted Lasso happening.
I don't care. I don't care.
Wow.
I hate Jason Sudeikis. He has never made me laugh. Ever.
Oh my God.
And I watched We're the Millers because I wanted to see what was going on with Jennifer Aniston in the movie. And there were a few moments of the movie that I laughed at, but none of them involved Jason Sudeikis.
Wow.
And I'm not doing that to get a rise out of you.
No, I know you're being, it's just your opinion. I just might need a minute.
Yeah. And you don't have to respect this opinion, but it is an opinion of mine. And the director, Jim Field Smith, he directed a movie called Butter with an all-star cast. Jennifer Garner, Hugh Jackman, a couple other people are in that movie. And Butter is about a butter carving contest.
Oh my God.
And it is a very strange movie. It has a good couple laughs. But I think Jim Field Smith's shining moment is She's Out of My League because it, like I said, it feels like it doesn't feel like a documentary, but it feels like you are hanging out with these guys. You feel like you can relate to every single person on screen.
Yes, absolutely.
There's nobody in this movie that's phoning it in. Like the cast is just fucking fantastic. And one scene that I really like is after Kirk returns the phone to Molly, she offers him hockey tickets. And so Kirk ends up bringing Stainer to this hockey game, and they walk up to the bar, and Stainer pulls out a 20. And he goes, give me 4 beers. And the bartender just looks at him. He goes, 3 beers? And he just like his face tilts more, and he goes, 2 beers? And he just nods like, yeah, and he snatches the $20 from him and he gives him 2 beers. And it's like, yeah, that's absolutely true.
Yes.
And maybe not even now, because again, this movie is now 12 years old.
Yeah, because now they're $13 a piece.
Exactly. You may not be getting 2 beers for $10, for $20 each anymore. And that's when Stainer and Patty meet, which is, in my opinion, just gold. I love how she's like, hi, I'm Patty, and goes, Stainer. She's like, I'm sorry? He goes, Stainer. what? Stainer. And then Kirk's like, his name is Stainer. And then she's like, oh, you look like a guy I went to high school with. And he goes, oh, who was it? Maybe it was me. She goes, no, he's in a coma. He goes, oh, who brought the good news bear? Why don't we give her some fucking honey? I just fucking love that shit. It's so funny.
Yeah. He oh my, I laughed out loud repeatedly throughout this movie.
I'm so glad.
I don't want to say pleasantly surprised, but yeah, we are learning that you and I have different tastes in comedy.
Indeed.
Case in point 3 minutes
Case
ago
in
that
point.
I'm still recovering from. God damn it.
Your face is red.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying not to be upset. It's fine.
It's all right. It's okay.
No, it's fine.
You're allowed to be.
But yeah, I didn't know what to expect going into this movie. I wasn't sure if I was going to find it funny, and I laughed consistently throughout this movie. The writing is so sharp, and like you said, very real conversations. Guys absolutely talk this way.
Oh yeah.
And the shit they give each other is so accurate too. And I love
my
where
God.
Stainer's reading Kurt the Riot Act about why he's not good enough for Molly, and he goes,
Oh yeah.
dude, you drive a Dodge Neon. He's like, well, what's wrong with my car? He's like, the people who made Dodge Neons hate that car.
Exactly. And it's probably true because it is a shitty car.
Well, and I can tell you one of my favorite descriptors of all time is shitbox. I love that as a descriptor of a car. I don't know why. I always have.
Drive a shitbox.
They use it a couple times in this movie. It makes me really happy. And then just the awkwardness. This poor guy, he is, and this is the thing, he's an actual real nice guy. He's not expecting anything from anyone. He's just a nice guy. And this is what a true nice guy looks like, because nice guys who say they're nice guys, who actually aren't, are the ones who are like, well, I was nice to you, so you have to sleep with me. Like, no, you're not a nice guy. Fuck you. But he's very sweet. And the poor guy is, where you're really nervous. So of course you get to embarrassing situations because you're nervous. And I felt for the guy throughout this movie. And when they're in the restaurant and they sit down and then he looks around and realizes that he has a red coat just like all the fucking waiters. Oh my God. I lost it. It was so funny. I thought it was, I really enjoyed this movie.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm really glad to hear that. Going back to the dinner scene before that, when Patty and Molly are out shopping for clothes, and Patty's like, all right, you're going out with Kurt. When do you want the bad date bailout call?
Yeah.
And Molly's like, I don't want it. She goes, yeah, you do. You want the bad date bailout call. And then she calls her and she doesn't answer the phone. And we see Patty at home. She goes, what? Nuh-uh. And she like throws her phone away.
Yeah.
So good.
I love her ex-boyfriend Cam, who's Jeff Stoltz, who is clearly classically handsome.
He's a good-looking dude too.
He's a good-looking dude, and because he thinks Kurt's gay, and so he's like, no, I'm okay. I accept your lifestyle. That's not a problem. And he gives him a hug. He's like, do you feel that tolerance?
And then he's getting in his plane because he's a pilot. Not too much context, but Cam is a pilot. And then he goes, hey, Kurt, have some standards, man. I mean, this guy, and he's pointing to Jack, goes, he's kind of cute, but the other two? Ugh. Yeah. And then Stainer's like, you know what? I'd have sex with that guy. Yeah. I have friends that would say that. I probably would say that as like, one of those things.
Absolutely.
And so going back a little bit to Jay Baruchel as the star, there's one scene that when my wife ended up coming into the room. Now, granted, my wife has seen this movie with me before. She watched it with me. She laughed. She came in during the manicuring scene. And the manicuring scene.
Manscaping. It's called manscaping.
Thank you. Yeah, during the manscaping scene, she walked in. And so there's a scene where we cut away and we see Jay Baruchel from the waist up. And if you've ever seen Knocked Up, he's been shirtless before in that movie, and he's shirtless in Goon. He has a Canadian maple leaf tattooed on him because he's a proud Canadian.
Awesome.
So they had to make up his chest a little bit, and if you look close enough, you can see that it's definitely covered with makeup. But the makeup is done pretty well there.
Oh, I didn't notice that. I'm always super impressed by the makeup team whenever they have to cover actors' tattoos. This actor in particular always makes me think of it, who is The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. Whenever I see him, I'm like, damn, they covered all his tattoos. The makeup team is always so good with that, covering tattoos. I'm always really impressed by that in any movie.
I think with Dwayne Johnson, it was more in his earlier movies, because now I think it's in his contract.
Part of it.
Like, that's me.
Well, now he can command basically whatever he wants. He's got his own production company, so he's like, yep, my tattoos are going to be in the movie. Write it in.
And I wonder if you picked up on this, V. I don't think it's a true nod to one of your earlier choices of our podcast. This lunch scene where Kirk brings Molly to his parents' house to meet the family. They find out what Molly does for a living, and she's like, "Oh, I make a lot of money. I'm an event planner." And so Dylan is just kind of like, "Oh, so you got your head on right? Like, what are you doing with numbnuts here?" And then all the women at the table are literally like, "Yeah, what's going on?" And then his dad's like, "No, fair question,
Fair question."
And Kurt's like, "Fair question," and she's like, "Oh, I don't know. Well, he makes me laugh," and I immediately thought about Roger Rabbit at that moment.
Oh, yeah. That's a good callback. Nicely done.
Yeah, and she's like, he makes me laugh. He doesn't try to impress me. He doesn't try to be somebody that he's not, and it's just a nice way to talk up the son to the parents and the older brother that clearly have almost no respect for him. Granted, the mother does, but it seems like his dad and his brother are they kind of gang up on him a little bit.
Well, and also my favorite part of her dialogue is when she says that she can be herself around him, which is so important.
Oh, definitely.
With whoever you are with, if you can be yourself, that's fantastic.
Yeah. But one thing that's inaccurate about this movie, and just about every movie where somebody has to drive somewhere, why is there always parking available in front of the building they're going to? Why the fuck is that always the thing?
Especially in New York.
Especially in New York. This movie is set in Pittsburgh. But and again, in major cities, L.A., New York, wherever the fuck they're shooting the movie, there's conveniently parking in front of the restaurant, in front of the apartment building, especially with Molly's building where she lives, this like fucking massive hoity-toity ass building, high-rise building, thank you. So that's one thing I think out of the entirety of the movie that I find to be the most inaccurate.
Which is true for a lot of movies, so we can make blanket statements about it, because it's true. I mean,
right.
Oh my God, especially any movie set in like New York or LA, I'm like, you're not parking there. You will never find a spot there, ever.
Not at all. And I would love to see a movie where they, not a whole lot of time, but, maybe do like a quick minute of them like, oh, there's no parking available. Let me go find parking. I mean, they actually did do it in Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. Like early on in the movie, Harold's coming home. He goes, all right in front of the building. And then the douches pull up. Yeah. And they're like, better luck tomorrow. And then he's like got to drive around the area to like find
that
the better luck
accurate.
Tomorrow nod. Yeah, that's more accurate. So a little bit more about She's Out of My League. It had quite the budget. It had a $20 million budget. Okay. And I feel like that could go majority to locations because they did shoot. Yeah, they did shoot in an active airport, the Pittsburgh airport. That actually is where they shot that. And fascinatingly enough, all of the background that they had in the airport is actual background.
Nice.
It's not people in, just going to
not just
terminal
extras.
to terminal. Yeah, it's actual background. So the fact that they were shooting at an airport, they had to go through security. They could not have any sharp objects, and they couldn't bring any of their own liquids through. They had to
did the grips get through without any sharp objects? That makes no sense.
They're on, they're on the crew. That's the exception usually. I've shot at an airport. I shot at Ontario Airport with Curb Your Enthusiasm, and all the grips and electrics had all their knives and stuff like that.
I've shot at the Ontario Airport too, actually.
Have you? All right, yeah. I was not allowed to bring in my bottled water unless it was provided by Crafty, etc. So that that's just part of the safety of all of that stuff. So we had a $20 million budget. It came out on March 12th of 2010, and interestingly enough, I had spent a solid 3 months being a finishing editor on the theatrical trailers and the TV spots for this movie.
Oh, really?
And yeah, and the finishing editor really just buffers up the last few bits, the last couple seconds of each clip. We throw in the credits and a little bit of the music and the coming soon situation. So I had only ever seen the trailers and the TV spots for this movie. And I'll be honest, I didn't think they really did the movie justice. And that's fine. We've talked about how some trailers give the movie away, like in Rock and Rolla. I was like, I feel like I saw the whole fucking movie. So when this movie came out, I didn't know when it came out in 2010. I had already left this advertising house, and I was jumping into production at the time. And I didn't see it in theaters. I rented it on DVD on Netflix when you still get the discs and everything like that. And I was like, you know what? I worked on the trailers. I just got to see this movie. I got to see what it's all about. And I fell in love with it. I fell hard for this movie because, again, like we've been saying, it's authentic, it's hilarious, it's really funny. So opening weekend on March 12th of 2010, it garnered 9,775,000. The U.S. gross was $32 million. And then the worldwide gross was $49 million. So it did pretty well worldwide. It made $29 million more than I imagine they ever thought it would. And it was released on the same day as the Robert Pattinson-led Remember Me, which I have never seen. It was released against the Matt Damon, Paul Greengrass-led Green Zone, which I've never seen. It was released against Our Family Wedding, which I've never seen. And March's biggest opening was the week before, was the live-action Tim Burton-directed Alice in Wonderland. So
I worked on a music video for that movie.
Hell yeah. So unfortunately, She's Out of My League fell under the radar because it maybe wasn't marketed well because, like I said, I didn't think the trailers were very good. It didn't make me laugh. It didn't really it didn't hold a whole lot of interest for me seeing these trailers and these TV spots, even though I worked on them. Alice in Wonderland I did not see in theaters, but I did see later on in life, and I thought it was all right. I didn't think it was like wonderful, but it was okay.
I didn't like that or the
Through the Looking Glass,
the Chocolate Factory remake that he Johnny Depp and Tim Burton did together. I didn't like either of those remakes. I thought it was a little
Charlie
bit
and the Chocolate Factory.
Blasphemous.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that one. Alice in Wonderland, like I said, visually I thought was great. And I did not mind Through the Looking Glass, and I think Through the Looking Glass was saved by Sacha Baron Cohen's character. So there's that. But the one thing that I really found interesting about She's Out of My League is it was a blacklisted script from 2006, and the blacklist script of any year is the most liked script that has not been made. So 2006, released 2010. In 2008 was when they were in production. So that air show that they're at, that is an actual air show. That wasn't something put together for a movie. That was a real air show that they went to and shot at. And I'm wondering if you might be able to tell me what the highest grossing film of 2010 was.
Can you give me a hint?
Oh, gosh, if I do, it's going to give it away. But yes, I can. We are fans of this movie.
That is not a hint.
Let's see. Oh, gosh, how do I give you a hint of this one? Okay. All right. Highest grossing film of 2010, Sigourney Weaver's in it.
What has she been up to lately? Galaxy
12 years?
Yeah, 12 years ago. Shit. Galaxy Quest was great, but that was absolutely not the top grossing movie.
No.
We both like this movie, Sigourney Weaver. Oh, actually, this is a very timely hint and pick for top grossing movie because we've been talking about the trailer and we're going to see this movie sequel together. Is it Avatar?
It is Avatar.
Yes. For some reason, I came
466 million.
Well, total worldwide was $1 billion, right?
Well, this was for 2010.
Oh, okay.
Because it's been re-released across the globe.
Because James Cameron cannot handle losing that position as number one. That is why it gets re-released. Let's be honest. He is a little bit fragile.
And we're getting a re-release of it in November before the Way of Water comes out.
Yes.
And September is a re-release of Titanic, and I cannot wait for that.
That'd be interesting to see again in theaters.
I'm going for sure.
I'm not surprised at all. That's interesting. For some reason, I don't know why, but I was thinking that Avatar came out in 2004, but that's not possible because we were both well into working in the industry and adults when it came out. So
yeah.
All right. Wow. Okay. Yes, and you're right. God, I can understand why most hints would have immediately given that away.
Yes.
Yeah.
And 2010 actually had quite the roster of films, and I'm going to give you a couple of them. Beyond Avatar, we had Toy Story 3 coming in at number 2 of highest grossing. Alice in Wonderland was number 3.
Ugh.
Iron Man 2 was number 4. Twilight Eclipse was number 5. And this pisses me off because it beat Inception by $8 million.
Oh, that is a bummer.
That's a big bummer.
Yeah.
Number 17, highest grossing of 2010. I'm going to give you a hint of this one. It's one of your favorite movies.
Okay.
That's your hint.
Oh, that's my hint? Is it Shutter Island?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
I immediately knew it because of the fact I remember Inception and Shutter Island came out the same year.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Number 20 was Tron Legacy, which we've talked about.
Yeah,
Joseph
we're both fans.
Kosinski. Very good. Very fun film. Number 31. This is interesting to me that this was so far down the list. Social Network was number 31. I thought that would have been a higher number.
Yeah.
For that one. I really like that movie, but I also can see why, based off of the first 30, why it was number 31, because there's a little bit more eye candy type of movies. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And then number 59 is another one of your favorite movies starring Emma Stone.
Easy A.
Easy A.
Nice.
Number 67 is written by our two writers of She's Out of My League, Hot Tub Time Machine. Number 72 was Saw, the final chapter. I want to play a game.
Dumb.
And I thought the final chapter was pretty decent. I liked the way it wrapped everything up. I didn't think we needed Spiral, but Chris Rock wanted to make a Saw movie, and he didn't do a great job with it. And number 95 was She's Out of My League. So it was top 100 of 2010.
I know you like when that happens, so congratulations.
I really do.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Congrats to me and my fandom of that, and congrats to everybody involved, because it really does hold up to this day.
It does.
And I could watch this movie until I'm dead and laugh every single fucking time.
Yeah, as someone who's watching it for the first time in 2022, I can absolutely tell you it holds up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Good to hear. So yeah, that's She's Out of My League. Jay Baruchel, TJ Miller, Alice Eve, Kristen Ritter, Nate Torrance, Mike Vogel, Deborah Jo Krupp. If those of you that we didn't really get into her, but she was the mother on that 70s show. Very fun actress to watch. She plays Kirk's mom. And also the soundtrack of She's Out of My League is fantastic from beginning to end. Every song that they chose, I thought, fit perfectly for the tone and for every scene that was in there. And just an all-around great film.
It is. And would you watch this with your grandma?
I don't think my grandma would enjoy it very much. I don't... I mean, I could put it on for her, but she's not one to really enjoy too much raunchy comedy. So it might not be one that I choose to watch with Grandma.
I will say to our listeners, it's not that raunchy.
No, it's really not.
It's
no,
not
but
crude.
It's really not, actually.
There's one scene in it that's a little bit crude, but other than that, it's not that bad. It's a rated R comedy, but it's not dirty. And I don't think either one of these films are, to be totally honest with you.
True.
And yeah, I mean, I would absolutely watch either one of these movies with any of my sisters, any of my buddies. I'd watch it. I wouldn't watch it with my parents, not because I'm embarrassed, just because I don't think they'd enjoy it as much as other movies I could show them, because they're kind of male-driven comedies, and my dad's more of a fan of, for lack of a better term, like female empowerment. And so, not that either of these movies are misogynist, but just I know there's a lot of other movies I could pick that he would enjoy more, which is
sure.
He'd rather watch Jessica Jones with.
Well, yeah, I would too.
With Kristen Ritter.
I wouldn't actually rather watch it, but I just want to watch it because Kristen Ritter's in it.
Because Kristen Ritter's in it, so yeah. But yeah, I mean, definitely anybody over the age of like 17 can totally watch either of these films.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I would say even if you're, well, maybe not, for sure.
Yeah.
I would say even if you're 16, you would find these entertaining.
Yeah.
So She's Out of My League you can watch on Amazon Prime. I watched my DVD copy. Like I said, when I rented it on Netflix, I went out the next day to Best Buy and I bought it. I had to have it. And so it's available on streaming. I recommend, if you want to have a solid hour, 40 minutes of pure laughter, just give it a shot. It's a good time.
And the nice thing is that both of our movies this week are free on streaming services. You do not have to rent them. Yeah. It's free on Amazon Prime. That's how. And you're right. That's how I watched it.
Perfect.
Great. Okay, so thanks everyone. I hope you had fun on another light episode of ours. We certainly enjoy covering comedies. We have a lot of fun with it together, and we hope you continue to join us for future episodes. Please feel free to follow us at Movies You Miss Pod on all of the social media, and as well as moviesyomisspod@gmail.com. We are, as always, open to feedback and recommendations on any movies you think we should cover.
Absolutely. I'm waiting for some recommendations of stuff I've never seen before. So if anybody wants to throw some curveballs at us, please do.
Absolutely. And apparently if it's a Jason Sudeikis film, it's something he hasn't seen.
Yeah. Let's try and not do any of those. think the last one I saw his was Hall Pass with Owen Wilson, and that was a garbage
That's
movie.
a garbage movie. That doesn't count.
Yeah.
Do you hate him in
Jason-
Horrible Bosses?
I don't like Horrible Bosses, and actually the writers of this movie wrote Horrible Bosses, and I did not like Horrible Bosses.
Which is why you didn't bring it up.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I know,
Wow,
it's
these
interest- it
writers
is.
are
It's
good.
strange.
These are good
Yeah.
writers.
They are good writers. They are, and I know why Horrible Bosses is liked by the
Majority,
masses. I for whatever reason I didn't really like it very much, and it probably was because of Sudeikis.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess this is the point where we tell everybody what we will be watching next week, in case anybody wants to follow along with us. I've chosen the 1964 classic black comedy Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb, directed by the most famous crazy director, Stanley Kubrick.
Yes.
We can watch that. Well, I will watch my DVD copy.
Of course.
But others can watch it on Apple TV. You can rent it. It'll be the 4K restoration. There's also an available rental on Amazon Prime and Vudu for $2.99. Apple TV, I believe, is $3.99.
Nice. I will be watching it on Amazon Prime, I think.
Fantastic.
And my pick to complement Dr. Strangelove is the 1995 Crimson Tide, led by Denzel Washington and Gene Hackman.
Nice. I have not seen this movie in like 25 years. I can't wait to revisit this one.
Oh, awesome. Yes, it is a nail biter, that's for sure. It is available for free streaming on Peacock if you have that. Otherwise, you can rent it in a few different places for $3.99.
Excellent. I might do the Peacock option. We'll see.
Nice. And as we always tell our listeners, no worries if you don't get around to watching these before our next episode. We do not spoil movies in this show.
Indeed, we do not. But do give both of these a shot, like I said.
Yes, I'm very, very excited for yours. I actually haven't seen it before.
Oh,
It's been on my list for years, and I've never gotten around to it.
I can't wait to hear what you think.
Yes.
Thank you guys very much for joining us on episode 14. We're getting close to 20. This has been an absolute blast. Thank you guys for continuing to listen, giving us some feedback, giving us some comments, giving us that 5-star review. As we like to end, film is a form of art, and in art, every opinion is valid, except if you think.
Jason Sudeikis isn't any good. What the fuck, dude?
Yeah, he's not very good.
Yeah.
There's a rift with John and Vee.
The first crack has emerged. Yeah. No. Every opinion is valid. Except yours.
Except mine. This time around.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in, and hope to have you join us again next week.
Cheers, everybody.
Bye.